Gosh, people are terrible, aren't they? Walking around with their noses on upside down, spilling mucus everywhere. If there's one thing mankind could do without, it's people. I'm not saying that we should get rid of them all, unless of course that's what you're saying. Right, no, sure, that would be bad. But what if there was another way to enjoy all the compulsive clicking of an MMO without ever having to rely on a snotty human being? It's a question I've been pondering every morning as I stick chewing gum onto the seats at the bus stop, and I've come up with a list. 8 MMOs that are best enjoyed in the absence of other people, or at least at their expense. By the way, if it were possible to redeem a person, I'd say that they'd start by hitting the bell and subscribing. Just saying.
When BioWare first revealed their Star Wars MMO, they said it was going to be Knights of the Old Republic 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and if you're any good at maths, you can probably guess the rest. The point was, it was several single-player games mashed into one, paid for by a subscription fee. Now, the subscription fee is gone, and you can cherry-pick the best stories without ever bothering to pay the microtransactions. I recommend the Imperial Agent storyline, which finds you playing janitor to a bunch of messy, impulsive Sith babies. Best of all, the chat box is just the right size to cover up with a single sticky note. That's excellent UI design right there.
If you really want players to talk to each other, you shouldn't make the writing this good. The Secret World was penned by the longest journey's Ragnar Turnquist and has one of the finest MMO scripts ever penned. The premise is gleefully silly. The Dragon, Templars and Illuminati are locked in a secret society war and you're in on it. Among the conspiracy drama is a lot of thoughtful dialogue and expressive, inventive world building. There are even quests that require you to do genuine research. You'll literally have to Google something other than Hearthstone deck guides. That sounds a lot like university essays, which are, of course, best handled as solo projects.
Neverwinter was first conceived as a story-driven RPG comparable to Dragon Age or Oblivion, and although it ultimately became a fully fledged MMO, these noble intentions still shine through. Though the combat is flashy and modern, this is an old-fashioned Dungeons & Dragons adventure that takes in all the key sites of the Forgotten Realms. In the last couple of years, Neverwinter has seen cameos from Baldur's Gate companions like Minsk and Boo, as well as half the key characters from the Drizzt Do'Urden books. Cryptic Studios even enlisted R.A. Salvatore to write a few of the quests, and if a best-selling author is writing the dialogue, the least you can do is take friends out of the mix so you can hear it all properly.
The game of golf, we're led to believe, was invented in 1457 by a Scottish man who simply wanted to be left alone in a field. While later innovations managed to add competitive elements, golf is at its purest when enjoyed by one enthusiast and their club. Winning Putt allows you this serenity. It's a multiplayer game, sure, but the courses are more than big enough to lose your friends in, and you don't even have to talk to a golf club receptionist to get started.
When The Elder Scrolls Online first came out, it was a bit too much like other MMOs. It felt like a theme park in which the rides were always having to reset for the next player, so that nothing you ever did felt permanent. Why would I want to have less fun so that the next chump can have theirs? It just doesn't make any sense. In the time since, however, it's come to resemble a proper Elder Scrolls game, which is to say it's become really antisocial, enabling you to murder NPCs and sneak around in the Thieves Guild, swiping other people's belongings. Needless to say, it's also a lot larger than your average Elder Scrolls, offering thousands of hours of cross-continental exploration on your Todd.
Space is big, isn't it? Like, really big. I mean, you may feel that you're miles away from Quiet Sanctuary right now, but that distance is peanuts to space. EVE Online is all about space, which means there's tons of, well, space to simply bask in the glory of there being nothing and no one around. Capiche? Some of EVE's most influential players are notorious for never actually logging in, merely directing others to take down corporations from the safety of a spreadsheet. In the comfort of zero-G isolation, you can plan the downfall of other pilots by building up your own evil sabotage task force with an employee count of 1, naturally. That'll teach him forgetting all up in our space. There's no need for player economy when you can be completely self-sufficient, right?
Asheron's Call was one of the great early MMOs, but its sequel was more our cup of tea. and by that I mean it was doomed to almost total obscurity. Asheron's Call 2 barely lived to see its 3rd birthday and was revived by Turbine a decade later as a kind of living museum. It's a curio that only the most dedicated Asheron's Call archivists would ever bother with, which makes it the perfect hiding place. What's that? It shut down last week. Well, even better. Now not even you lot can sully it with your clammy human hands. Finally, the perfect MMO.
Listen, I think we've been going about this the wrong way. We've been trying to block out other players, sticking our fingers in our ears while the idiots bleat about raids. But we're making work for ourselves. The best MMOs, clearly, are the ones that are completely disconnected from the internet. Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning was the precursor to an MMO that never came out, and it has all the trappings of an offline World of Warcraft. There's the fantasy art that's just a bit too chunky and colourful to be taken seriously. There's the world itself, which feels like it was built for a much larger crowd. And then there's the yellow exclamation marks. Just look at them, shamelessly ripped from WoW. Except that when you're chatting to a quest giver, you're not colliding with about 100 others having the same conversation. In fact, you won't be seeing another soul. Hear that? Bliss.
That's your lot. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you've got any suggestions for great misanthropic MMOs, drop them in the comments. Just please don't talk to me directly, it gives me a headache.